Enya here, and we're gonna continue with the Crookman. I got stuck in a part, and we're gonna try to figure out what's going on and see what I can do because I am very stuck. I know that we need to get a book or find a book in which, in here, it said that there were 4 chapters of the book have mysteriously gone missing. Should you find the pages, please report to the owner. And we're just stuck, really, just not permanently stuck, but stuck. Because I'm doing everything I can to look around. He doesn't want to go inside. Let me check. I'm gonna check every single thing. I guess I'll go with you guys when I find it. There you go! My goodness! Trying to find it everywhere. Okay, the blackboard in the owner's room. Oh my god, oh my god. My room just moved. Got so scared. Okay, anyway. The blackboard in the owner's room said the strange case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It's been on this shelf, right? Huh, here we go. Chapter 1. I don't like how this looks. Chapter 1. Story of the Door. Mr. Utterson, the lawyer, was a man of a rugged countenance that was never lightened by a smile, cold, scanty, and embarrassed in discourse. Backward in sentiment, lean, long, dusty, dreary, and yet somehow lovable. At friendly meetings, and when the wine was to his taste, something eminently human beaconed from his eye, something indeed which never found its way into his talk, but which spoke not only in these silent symbols of the after-dinner face, but more often and loudly in the act of his life. He was austere with himself, drank gin when he was alone, to mortify a taste for vintage, and though he enjoyed the theatre, had not crossed the doors of one of the 20 years, but he had an approved tolerance for others, sometimes wondering, almost with envy, at the high pressure of spirits involving in their misdeeds, and in any extremity, stra- no, wait, in any extremity inclined to help rather than to reprove. Okay. That evening Mr. Utterson came home to his bachelor house in some spirits and sat down to dinner without relish. It was his custom in a Sunday, when this meal was over, to sit close by the fire, a volume of some dry divinity on his reading desk, until the clock of the neighboring church rang out the hour of 12. Then he would be soberly and gratefully to bed. On this night, however, as soon as the cloth was taken away, he took up a candle and went into his business room. There he opened his safe, took from the most private parts of it a document endorsed on the envelope as Dr. Jekyll's will, and sat down with a clouded brow to study it. Content, contents. The will was holographed for Mr. Utterson, though he took charge of it now that it was made, had refused to lend the least assistance in the making of it. It provided not only that in case of the decease of Henry Jekyll. Oh, chapter 4 goes from 4 to 3. 2 to 3. The Crowd Murder cast nearly a year later, in the month of October 18, London was saddled by a crime of singular ferocity, and rendered all the more notable by the high position of the victim. The details were few and startling. A maid-servant living alone in a house not far from the river had gone upstairs to bed about 11. Although a fog rolled over the city in the small hours, the early part of the night was clouded, and the lane which the maid's window overlooked was brilliantly lit by the full moon. It seemed she was romantically given, for she sat down upon her box, which stood immediately under the window, and fell into a dream of musing. Never, she used to say, with streaming tears, when she narrated the experience, never had she felt more at peace with all men, or thought more kindly of the world. And she as she so sat, she became aware of an aged and beautiful gentleman with white hair. Incident of the well, I can't read it entirely well if that's like that. Anyway, it was late in the afternoon when Mr. Utterson found his way to Dr. Jekyll's door, where he was at once admitted by Poole and carried down by the kitchen office offices and across a yard which had once had a garden, to the building which was indifferently known as the laboratory or the dissecting rooms. The doctor had bought the house from the heirs of a celebrated surgeon, and his own taste, being rather chemical than anatomical, had changed the destination of the block at the bottom of the garden. It was the first time that the lawyer had been received in that part of his friend's quarters, and he eyed the dingy, is that a word? Windowless structure which curiously engaged around with a distasteful sense of strangeness as he across the theater, once crowded with eager students, and now lying gaunt in silence, the table loaded with chemical apparatus, the floor strewed with crates and littered with packing. I can't read what it says. Oh, the last night Mr. Anderson was sitting by his fireside one evening after dinner, when he was surprised to receive a visit from Pupil. Oh, wow. "Bless me, Pupil, what brings you here?" he cried, and then, taking a second look at him, what ails you?" he added. "Is the doctor ill, Mr. Utterson?" said the man. "There is something wrong. Take a seat, and here is a glass of wine for you," said the lawyer. "Now, take your time, and tell me plainly what you want. You know the doctor's way, sir," replies Pupil, "and how you shuts himself up." "Well, he shuts up again in the cabinet, and I don't like it. Sir, I wish I may die if I like it, Mr. Utterson, sir. I afraid. I'm afraid. Now, my good man, said the lawyer, be explicit. What are you afraid of? I've been afraid for I've been afraid for about a week, returned Henry Jekyll's full statement of the case. I was born in the I was born in the year 18 to a large fortune, and was besides with excellent parts, inclined by nature to industry, fond of the respect of the wisdom and good among my fellow men, and thus, as might have been supposed, with every guaranteed of an honourable and disguised future, and indeed the worst of my faults was a certain impatient gaiety of dis, dispo, disposition, such as such as has made the happiness of many, but such as I found it hard to reconcile with my imperious desire to carry my head high and wear a more than commonly grave countenance before the public. Hence it came about that I concealed my pleasures, and that when I reached years of reflection and began to look around me and take stock of my progress and position in the world, I stood already committed. Okay. Okay, anyway. So I'm gonna save it right there because the story was okay. I couldn't understand that much because it was like cut down. I wish I could have seen it a little bit better. But I'm saving it right there and leaving you in that cliffhanger. And I know it sucks, but I'm gonna leave it right there. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you to the next one. Bye, guys.